on.
All
Please,
right,
can
thank
I have
you.
for welcoming her so that she can take over?
Thank you so much, Omar. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I see the 555 in the group, in the chat. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so good evening, everybody, and warm welcome once again to today's presentation. We do this every Saturday, every last Saturday of the month, and this is our Thought Leadership Series. Today's topic is creating professional and compelling presentations for optimum results. So irrespective of what you do, I know that everybody here, we interface and we interact with people. And it's important to have, when we interact with people, especially online, and we have our presentations, the idea is to have presentations that are professional and that are compelling. It's not just about putting slides together and then going ahead to present. So the topic today is creating professional and compelling presentations for optimum results. Okay, so the outline, what we're basically going to cover today is going to be short, concise, precise, short, brief, but it's going to be impactful. So the outline for today is, first of all, we're going to talk about why. Why do we do presentations? Because we that name flies everywhere all the time. Oh, I have a presentation. Oh, I have a presentation. So we're going to first look at why we do have presentations, and we're going to talk about what is compelling. When we say presentations should be compelling, what do we mean by compelling? Because sometimes we misunderstand what compelling is. So we look at what compelling is. And then the bulk of what we look at today is best practices when it comes to presentations. What are the best practices? What are the recommendations? What are the professional suggestions? So we'll look at best practices. And finally, I would share useful websites that can help us in making our presentations professional and compelling. So this is basically what we're going to do today. Like I said, short, brief, but it's going to be very impactful. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start off with today is why present? Why do we need to present? Before COVID, we would do more of physical presentation where you have to stand in front of people and present to them. But with COVID, we all went online. Everything went online. And so most of the presentations we will talk about today would be online presentation. And that is going to be my focus for this evening. Why do we need to present? Why presentation? So I have coined the reasons, and the reasons I'm going to share this night, they are all encompassing. They might involve all other reasons you might have, but I've coined everything and I've put everything together, and it's in the acronym PEPSIM. This is why we present at all. Why do we present? So it's in the acronym PEPSIM, and I'm going to share with us what the PEPSIM stands for. The P, the first P there stands for persuade. You present or you make a presentation because you want to persuade an audience. You want to convince them about something. You want to persuade them to take something or to take a particular opinion you're presenting or sharing. So the very first one is to persuade, not necessarily the first one. They are not in any particular order. So the P is for to persuade. That is why we present. The second one is to educate. And I think this is where most people fall into. You present to educate an audience. You present to persuade an audience, depending on the audience that is. And the next P is promote. So this would be like maybe your brand, you're promoting your brand, or you're promoting your company's brand or organization brand. But the idea is you are promoting something. And if you're promoting something, you have to present it. That's for the P. The S is to sell. which is what most marketing and sales representatives will do. They will do a presentation because at the end of the day, they want to sell a product. Okay, so that's for selling. And the other one is to inform. So sometimes your presentation is basically to inform you about something or to inform your audience about something. And the last M there is to motivate. So sometimes your presentation, whether it is in Zoom like this or on Facebook Live, maybe you're just presenting to motivate your audience. Okay, so that is why we present in the first place. The reason I started with the why is it's important for you to know why you are doing a presentation, because every other thing falls under it. Every other thing follows it. If you know why you're presenting, you would know the tone you would use, you would know the resources you would get, you would know the websites you need to go to, you know the kind of pictures you want to use in your presentation. So knowing why you are presenting is very important, because every other thing, it will drive every other thing you want to do in your presentation. Okay, so now let's look at what is compelling. What do we mean by compelling presentation? Please, if you don't take anything away from today's webinar or from today's Thought Leadership Series, if you don't take anything away today, please, you would take home the fact that when we say compelling presentation, we are not talking about you, the presenter. We're not talking about your PowerPoint or your slide. That is not what compelling is talking about. Compelling presentation has to do with your audience. You are compelling the audience. It is not your presentation, your slide presentation that needs to be wow, or ooh, you want to wow them, you want to sweep them off their feet. It is not how beautiful your presentation is. It's not how a fizzy, in quotes, it is. It is how it makes the audience feel. It is the result you're getting from the audience. That is what makes it compelling. So you would not know whether your presentation is compelling till you are done or till you start presenting, because the way your audience is feeding back to you or the way they are responding, that is what makes it compelling. So that is what makes a presentation compelling. So when we say compelling presentation, it doesn't mean your presentation is, oh, all sweet, all good. No, that's not what compelling is. That might be professional, but compelling does not have anything to do with you, but it has everything to do with your audience. So I wanted us to get that straight. Okay, the next thing on the outline is to look at best practices. And this is really where we now want to talk about the factors or the components, the things that will be put together to make our presentation be able to compel our audience. So we're going to look at best practices. You might want to get your pen and paper, or you take screenshots, because I'm just going to give us the nuggets. Right, the very first thing about a compelling presentation is that you need to use icebreakers or starters or whatever you want to call it. Now, the reason is the beginning of presentations might be awkward because you're like, what do I say first? What's going to happen next? And you might know what to say first and all, but your audience too are in that zone of, okay, let's see how it's going to, or how she's going to engage us. So sometimes it's an awkward time to start. And an icebreaker is such a good thing to start with, because with an icebreaker, you already involve your audience. Don't start presentations by just talking, because then you are already losing the audience. So an icebreaker is a very good one to start with. And I'm going to practice what I'm preaching, and I'm going to do a very short icebreaker now. And my icebreaker, please get your fingers ready. My icebreaker, you need your fingers very fast. So I need somebody to type in the chat, compelling. Now, this is the idea, okay? You need to type compelling, but not all at a go. So you type letter C and send, letter O and send, letter M and say, okay, compelling is quite long. Let's type in breaker. So icebreakers, break. See, somebody's already typing. Okay, so let me not change it. You guys are already doing compelling. Okay. Okay, let's do compelling. The idea, I've not even finished talking. Look at this audience. Oh my God. The idea is for you to type in compelling at a go without anybody breaking it. So I'm going to check. If somebody breaks your word or your letters, that means you haven't won. We need somebody to type in compelling at a go without
Everybody
any
wait
break.
for me to do my own.
Okay, I see CO. Okay. Oh my God. Wow, this Dennis is really okay. Wow, Omo. I see hey, who is SK? President. You almost won, but you wrote LI together. Vote don't scatter. Oh my God. Okay, this is beautiful. President was the one. Somebody just wrote compelling at the same time, like, whoa, I can't keep myself. S.A. Peter, she just wrote the compelling at a go, like, I can't come and kill myself. All right, thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Okay, that was quite interactive. And honestly, you can steal it. You can steal it from me. It's okay. It is stealable. You can use it in your own presentation the next time. You can see that it's quite engaging. It's quite interactive. So the first thing you want to do to make your presentation compelling is to use icebreakers, and use icebreakers that really engage the audience. So that's the first thing to make your presentations compelling. The second one, this is very important, is to make your slides concise. So concise means brief, short, as short as possible. And the idea, what I wrote down there is share one main point per slide. The emphasis there is main point. So if you have 3 points to share, don't put everything in one slide. Put one main point in one slide and have another slide to put another main point. Now, when I say one main point per slide, I'm not talking about maybe you have maybe you want to say 8 ways to lose weight. I'm not saying you should do number 1 weight, 1 slide, number 2 weight, no. But if 8 ways to lose weight is 1 point, then maybe you want to talk about advantages and disadvantages. You can talk about that one in another slide. The idea is to put as little as possible in one slide. Don't jam pack everything in one slide. And that's what I mean by concise. Make your slides concise. The less you can put in a slide, the better. Please, who can tell me in the chat box why it is important to make your slides concise? Like putting as little as possible. Who can tell me in the chat why that is so? Why not just put maybe 2 or 3 things in one slide and move on? Who can tell me why the ice did not just break with the activity? It's not to stream. Okay, just take that. Please, who can tell me in the chat why we need to make our slides concise and not put too many points in one slide? The information sinks in properly. Exactly. Because if you put too many points in one slide, they are battling with how to grab it. Because of course, there is something that is called attention span, which results research exactly focuses attention exactly. So it's one thing at a time. The human brain, as smart, as geniuses as we are, our brains cannot take too many things at the same time. It cannot. It will focus on one thing, get that, assimilate that, and then go to another thing. And that thing we call multitasking. There's nothing like multitasking, but there's multi-switching, and there's it's called task switching, actually. So when you think you are multitasking, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing this at the same time, what is happening is you're switching, because you cannot concentrate 100% in 2 activities at a time. No, you will concentrate, you will do this one, finish it, move to another one. So when we say we're multitasking, we're actually switching between tasks. You come to this one, give it 50%, come back to this one, give it 80, come back again, give it 20. That's switching. You're switching tasks. You're not multitasking. Okay, so that's another thing. Make your slides concise. For example, the one I'm showing you now, what I have on it is about making slides concise. I have not added 10 ways to do that. I've just given you this, and this is what we're talking about now. So, and that is a main point. So put your main points, put each main point in one slide. I love this one. The next one is animated bullets. You see in some places where people are presenting and they want to tell you 10 ways to lose weight, for example, like the one I mentioned before. And then they are listing all 10 ways in one slide in bullet points. Now, this is why it's not advisable, why it's not professional. You are a professional, you're a facilitator, you're a trainer. And the idea is that the people who came to listen to you, the people who came to attend your program or your presentation, they are there to listen to you. They are not there to read your slides. If they can read your slide, which they can, you might as well send them the slide. They can read at their convenience. But the idea is that they came here to listen to you, to listen to your wealth of knowledge, to listen to your skill, the expertise you have. So if you list everything in a bullet point, and then of course, as you're presenting, you will say, oh, so the first thing on the list is blah, blah, blah. The idea is that for fast readers like me, I've gone ahead and read everything on your bullet list. And because I've read everything already, why am I still listening? So that is where you will see me go and take my phone and I'll start doing something else because I've already switched off. So that is why your bullets, we're not saying don't use bullets. So in this particular one, you can actually list information, maybe like points, which is why we have bullet points. But the idea is you need to animate it. And I've done an animation already when I started. So this is an example of an animated bullet. See what I did here. So the idea of a bullet, animating bullet is, yes, you're listing 10 things or 8 things, but don't show all of them on the screen at the same time. Animate them in such a way that when you click when you click on a keypad, one point will appear, and then you talk about it, and then you click another one. So this is what I'm doing. So the first one is persuade, and then I'll talk about persuade. At this point, you're listening to me. You're not reading anything on the slide, because the idea is for you to grab your audience's attention. They came to listen to you. So this is an animated bullet. So animate it such that they come one after the other. That's an animated bullet. So I wanted to show us what that looks like. That is how you will not lose people for bullet points. So if you're doing anything bullet point or numbering, don't put everything in one slide. Animate it in such a way that it's one after the other and they're listening to you, because they came to listen to you. They didn't come to read your slide. Your slide can be read if they need to read it. You can send it to them via email or on WhatsApp, and they can read it whenever they want. So if you're using bullet points, make sure that you animate it so that it will come one after the other. The second one is picture source. So what I see most people do, or some people do, is they have a presentation and they simply go to Google. Yes, Google is free. You can get pictures on Google without with no stress. But the thing about pictures is, as most of us already know, those pictures are copyrighted. Most of them are copyrighted. And sometimes when you go to Google, what you will do is to screenshot the picture. And sometimes when you screenshot, you are screenshotting some elements that are not supposed to be there, some elements that are not professional. So you want to be very conscious of where you're getting your pictures from. So 2 things is use high quality pictures, which are gotten from websites, designated websites, and not just on Google. Because first of all, Google pictures might be blurry, it might not be very clear, and it might be copyrighted. So you're already committing a crime. So look for high quality pictures and look for pictures that are copyright free. So that it's not that you're presenting something and somebody is coming to fight you. Please, that picture you use is my picture. You didn't take permission from me to use it. I'm suing you. This has actually happened before. Yes, I'm suing you. You use my picture. Somebody, a school owner, used a picture she saw online on Google. She just screenshot it and used it as an advert to advertise for teachers. Unfortunately for her, one of the people, the lady whose picture was on the flyer that she used, saw the picture and she started asking, why are you using my picture without my permission? And it was a big deal, big deal. So you don't want to just go to Google and get any picture. So use high quality pictures and use copyright-free pictures. At the end of this presentation, I will share some sites where you can get free pictures, free copyright-free pictures and high quality pictures. So another way to make your presentation compelling is to use pictures from the right source, high quality pictures and copyright-free pictures. Okay, the next one is graphs and charts. So sometimes we just want to make our presentation, you know, in that presentation that I used it, something like I'm showing on the screen now is a graph. It looks technical. Oh, they will say I have. The idea is your audience, again, remember your audience came to listen to you. The idea is if you're using anything like graph or charts, or maybe pie charts, any of those kind of charts or graphs, if you must use them, that is why I said maximize here. If you're using a graph or pie or whatever in your presentation, make sure you explain it. Don't just add it there for adding sake and then and assume that your audience will understand. Some of them might not understand. So the idea is you use a graph, you use charts, please explain it, because it's data that you're presenting. So you need to explain it. If you are not going to explain it, there is no need to have it on your presentation, because what is going to happen is your audience is thinking, so why is that there? What is it about? So maximize your graphs and charts. Let it be that you're using it to explain something, and make sure you do explain whatever it is. If you're not explaining it, don't use it. Okay, the next one is researched and current data. I've used those specific words. Make sure that whatever data you are sharing, like when you say 65% of women are this and this and this, or statistics say this and this, make sure that it is well researched. Make sure you didn't just lift it from somewhere, maybe from somebody's presentation. Make sure you actually research about it so that you know that it is true, and so that you know that it is actually relevant to your own presentation. Some people just lift data from somewhere and just put it, and at the end of the day, it's not even relating. So make sure you yourself, you go out and do your own research. And then the second one is make sure that the research, the statistics or data you're sharing is current. You don't want to share a statistics that happened 20 years ago and you're using it for today's world. So make sure that the data you're sharing is researched and it is current. The idea is if you have not researched your work, and if you don't make sure that it is current, chances are somebody in your audience is a researcher. They actually know how to get their facts right. And then they're looking at what you're sharing with them and they're like, what is this? This is not true, or this is outdated. And what that does is it brings down your credibility. Your credibility just goes whoosh down. So make sure that the data you're sharing is researched and it is current. Remember that this is all about making it compelling for your audience. You're compelling your audience. All right, the next one is, I love this one, be minimalist. That's what I call it, minimalist. Most of us know what that is. So the idea is your presentation, what I'm doing today, you can see that all I'm doing is give you the point on top, say something down, and I'm the one talking. The idea is that your presentation is a guide. It's a cue. It's like when something is showing on the slide, that you talk to your audience. So don't try to put everything inside. Even if you know everything, don't put everything in your slide, in your PowerPoint presentation. I have seen PowerPoint presentations that are 100 slides, 88 slides, 120, and come on, what is it? That's information overload. And most times what is there, the content there, you don't even know about them. You just, oh, this thing looks very good, let me put it in my presentation. You grab it and put it. So that's not how to go. It's not going to be compelling. It's going to drive your audience away. So be minimalist in your presentations. That's another one. Okay, the next one is colors. Again, this might go to, taking so many things from everywhere. The idea is use, for example, if you notice my slide, I'm using after colors. So you see that all my slides have blue, red, white. So the idea is to be consistent with the colors you're using in your slides. Don't use yellow in slide 1, green in slide 2, brown in slide 3, the other one multicolor, rainbow color. So be consistent with the color scheme you're using. You might not know it, but it's psychological, and your audience is also sizing you up, in terms of that. They're looking at everything you're presenting, whether you're organized, whether you're deliberate, whether you're intentional. So let your color scheme be uniform across board. So that's for color scheme. Finally, is this the final one? Yes, this should be the final one. I said it was going to be very brief. So the last one is use readable fonts. You don't want to be showing something or presenting something and your audience, they are squinting to see what you have written. Some people want to use handwriting or cursive kind of writing, and then at the end of the day, it's not readable, it's not legible. Your audience can't read it. So I did a research, and what I found out is if it is something you want to print, there's another type of font, but for screen like presentations, generally, it doesn't mean you are limited to the ones I've mentioned here, but generally, the family of sans serif fonts. So the fonts that are called sans serif, and specifically Verdana, Tahoma, and Open Sans. They are very readable and they are good for screens. So you might want to, consider using those because they are very readable and clear. So Verdana, Tahoma, and Open Sans, and they are in the sans serif fonts. But like I said, you are not limited to them, but they are recommended. So you can use those fonts for your presentation so that your audience can read it, so that your fonts are readable. Okay, so those are the points I wanted to share in terms of what makes your presentation compelling. And remember that we said compelling doesn't have anything to do with your slide. It's not how effigy your slide is. It is how impactful it is for your audience. So now I'm going to share useful websites that we can use for, first of all, pictures. So for copyright pictures, you want to get pictures that are copyright and nobody is going to chase you that you've used their picture without crediting them. The first one is Pixabay. Who can tell me one of the points I'm using now? In this particular slide I'm using now, who can tell me one of the points that I share that I'm using now? The first one is Pixabay. Please let me see whether you people are listening or you've all gone to Owambe behind me. Who can tell me which point I'm using now in this slide? Hand. Somebody raise their hand. Okay, Derek, please go on.
Animate your
animation, yes, my bullet points, because I have them listed already, but I've animated them in such a way that they are coming one after the other. Because if I just put everything, you will just read them and then move on. So I'm using animated bullets. So the first place website you can get free pictures, not just free, but high quality. The first one is Pixabay. The second one is called Pexels. So Pexels is another place where you can get free pictures. So Pixabay, you have Pexels. And this one I love. So this one is Vecteezy. What I love about Vecteezy is they don't just have pictures, they also have like elements, like clip artist kind of pictures. They are called vectors, okay? So you have real pictures, you have videos, and you have vectors. Vectors are kind of like cartoonish, not like a real picture, but cartoonish, between cartoon and clip art. But they are also good for presentations as well. So Pixabay, Pexels, Vecteezy, you can check them out. Just type in Google Pixabay, Google Pexels, Google Vecteezy. Just type in Vecteezy on Google and you will get it. And then the other one is FreePic. So FreePic also has copyright pictures that you can use for your presentations. And the last one I shared here is Unsplash. This is not an exhaustive list, but these ones come very handy and you can check them out. Like, they are very, very quick and they are very free. I've used Pixabay for years, Pexels as well. Pixabay has pictures, it has videos that you can use. Yes, so you can actually use videos. You can infuse or you can insert videos in your PowerPoint presentations. So Pixabay, Pexels, Vecteezy, FreePic, and Unsplash. Those are the ones I'm sharing with you tonight. And lastly for the day, free PowerPoint templates. So you don't want to use PowerPoint, or you don't want to use, of course, Canva is there, but these are just other websites where you can also get free PowerPoint templates that you can use for your presentations. The first one is PowerPointify. So again, just type in the website PowerPointify. You can get free, yes, they are free PowerPoint templates that you can use. So there's PowerPointify, there's Slides Carnival, you can check them out. And then there's another site called All PPT. Then there's Presentation Magazine. All these sites you can get templates, PowerPoint templates that you can use, editable. And then of course we have Slides Go. But my one and only, as all of you might know, some of you might know, is Canva. It's Canva for me. This presentation I'm using now, I designed it on Canva. So Canva is not just for posters and all. Now there are two options for Canva. You can create your presentation on Canva and present it inside of Canva, or after creating your presentation, you can download it as PowerPoint, because that's what I did. If you don't download it as PowerPoint, you might not be able to add the feature of animated bullets. You cannot animate on Canva. So after creating on Canva, you can download it as PowerPoint and then do your animation. There's also transit. So when I'm moving from one slide to another, I have a transition. I have an animated transition. All these are supposed to just keep your audience engaged so that it's not just boring. And that is what really makes it compelling. And with these few points of mine, I have come to the end of today's presentation. So before we take this exit ticket, I would like to open the room for anybody who has any question, contribution, suggestion, whatever. So you can go ahead and say that. But I am done with my presentation tonight. I said it was going to be brief, and I'm done. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Coach Uzoma. Thank you. That's a very, very interesting presentation. Very, very concise and precise, and not boring. It's not boring. People see, that's a very good one. Any question from the house? Actually, what really happened was that I forgot. I slept off. It was, I don't know, maybe you are the one that came to come and tap me where I was sleeping before I jumped out and I saw the time that it's already past 7. So I quickly rushed to put on my system. So that was what really happened that time. I was like, oh, I was in transit that time. So sorry about that. Yeah, so does anybody have question in the
yes,
house?
Mr. Gbenga's hand is up.
Okay, Mr. Gbenga.
Yeah, thank you very much. Omo, you have already compared us with your makeup and dressing this night, so we appreciate you. Your skills, don't worry. Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Uzo. That was a very great one, short but powerful. That was a short gun.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Mhm.
when you started, you said something about the second one, what is compelling? That has to be about the audience and not the presenter, not about what you are putting on, not about your speech, about your slide. I want to ask, what exactly will compel the audience to buy into what I'm saying?
Sorry,
It's
what
not
did
one
you
of
say?
those things.
What exactly?
You said what is compelling?
Yes.
It does not have to do about you as a presenter, but it's about the audience. Am I right?
Yes, please.
Yeah, and I'm asking, what will make the audience to be compelling to buy into what I'm saying, if not what or ways that I'm presenting it to them?
Okay, so I'm not saying you should remove all attention from you. What I said was what makes a present, you know, remember today is about presentation, not qualities of a presenter, right? The attention today is on your presentation, is on your
Yes.
presentation.
Okay.
A
Okay.
presenter can
the
be
slide.
compelling as well. You can be compelling, and that is a different ballgame altogether. You can be compelling. When we talk about you as a presenter being compelling, we can then talk about your tone of voice, your nonverbal skills, your how you're making eye contact, all those things. But today's presentation is about your presentation and what makes it compelling. So that's why I said it doesn't have to do with you, it has to do with the audience, because it is your presentation. So for example, my PowerPoint, imagine if I was talking to you about being minimalist, and then my PowerPoint is full, is jam-packed. I've lost you already. So the idea of a compelling presentation is that you're making it fit for the audience. That's where I'm coming from. In another session, you see, that I've actually practiced one of the things I said here. I am not combining compelling presenter and compelling presentation. Today, I focused on compelling presentation, and that's what I'm talking about. Another day, I will talk about what makes a presenter compelling. So I don't want to jam too many things in one presentation. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, very well. So in a nutshell, what you are saying that to make our audience to be compelling has to do with, like you said, presentation has to do about this 9 points that you are giving to us. The icebreaker,
Yes.
the line, the animated bullets, and the rest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, those are what makes your presentation, not you.
Yes, exactly. I get you right. I get you right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, Dare's hand is up.
Thank you, Mr. Dare. Thank you so much. And Uzoma, thank you. Any other question? Any other person?
Yes, Dare's hand is up.
Well,
I have questions in the comments
to,
now.
Oh,
I was just going to.
Mr. Terry, sorry, I saw Dare's hand up first. Sorry, I'm sorry. Maybe after Dare, you can then ask Mr. Terry.
Why Terry the fight?
I think
Sorry.
Mr. Terry is already, he's ready to do exit into UK or US.
I was just going to add to what you said,
please.
but
Go ahead, please.
You said it has to be fit for the audience. Just for clarity, Mr. Benga, the truth is like the first slide that Uzoma made about the why. If you know the why of your presentation, it will help you to prepare your content and design it in such that it will be audience focused.
Yeah.
So you're doing it based on the intention or based on what you want to achieve, the purpose. Yeah. So if, for example, you want to sell, you're looking at your presentation, convincing your audience in order to buy what you're presenting to them. If you want to inform them, if you want to educate them, you're looking at it that they have to be able to take on the point to get clarity from what you're giving out to them. So if you want to also persuade them, if you want to promote something, or motivate, the way you're making your presentation will be different totally from when you're selling. That is basically what Uzoma is saying. So that's why will help you to present or prepare and design your content such that your audience will be able to get a grasp of what you're intending, not what you want to tell them. It's what you want them to hear, so that your reason will be achieved. Your purpose will be achieved. That's basically what Uzoma is saying. Just for an addition.
Thank you so much, Dare. You captured it, and I had to go back to that slide because what happens again sometimes is some people, the purpose is supposed to be maybe informative. You're supposed to inform your audience, but at the end of the day, you've gone from informing to selling. That is a chaos already. So it's very important to know the why. If you know what you're doing in this presentation, I'm not selling anything to anybody. I'm not selling. I'm probably informing or maybe educating. So I'm not using any persuasive language here. I'm not selling, and I'm not trying to promote my business or anything. So that helps me talk about the language I'm even using, the language I'm using, how I'm talking about it. All of that informs every other thing I do. So thank you, Dari, for making that clear. Thank you.
Okay. Any other
Mr.
question?
Terry.
He didn't answer my. He didn't answer my question on the this, but it's fine. I'll ask another question.
You can exit to anywhere you want. You can exit to UK or US. You're on your own.
Okay, so I've seen some I've seen some people who does presentation, especially prepare slides. Some people use pictures. And maybe, like, for example, you use the picture. I think you did that at some point. And maybe the team, or let's say team now, heading or point of what they want to say and use pictures to depict that. Yes. And every other thing they want to say in the presentation, they say it without having to put it in there on the slide. While some other people will put a few points of what they want to say on it, with the pictures are a bit smaller.
Yeah.
Which one will you rather suggest? Or which one compels more?
Depends on your
depends on depends on what you taught us today.
Yes. It depends on what Mr. Julius said. Mr. Julius, what did you say?
I say depends on your audience.
Exactly. It depends on your audience. And again, it depends on the content.
How do you mean it depends on my audience? How do you mean by it depends?
Because if you are talking to primary school students now, the way you are going to present is going to be totally different from talking to executives.
Yeah.
If you are doing executive coaching now, it will be different from talking to primary school students or talking to, university students. If you're talking to employees, it's different from how you're going to present to retirees, right? So if you have a mixed multitude, that's where you can use general statements and then use illustrations to pass across your message. Use statistics, use data. It is your interpretation now that will make the subject compelling. So that's why I was asking the question that, isn't it possible to be both compelling as a presenter and as a person and in presentation?
Of course. I said that already. Of course, your presentation can be compelling, and of course, you as a presenter, you need to be compelling. Good. So, but I understand what Terry is asking.
I think Julius tried to explain what I'm saying, but I still want to understand this. It depends on your audience. I still want to understand that. Look at this slide, for example. Look at this slide, for example. This particular slide now. It has PEMSing. It has what PEMSing means. Imagine that this PEMSing now is trying to talk about this is an acronym now. Imagine it's not an acronym. Imagine it's not an acronym. Imagine it is points you want to talk about. All right.
Yeah.
So I've attended some trainings where the trainers or presenters will just use PEMSing and leave it with picture, and then say what they want to say, and then say what they want to say.
Okay.
Whereas I've seen some other times wherein PEMSing is maybe like you talked about, for example, you talked about the advantages of so. Number one, PEMSing. Yes. Then the points they want to say on that PEMSing, they put that in bullet points. Let's assume this this Pepsin words here, persuade and all that are the bullet point. They put it there and they still talk about what they want to say. So in terms of being concise, your slides are concise, catching and all that. So I wanted to ask, which is better, all right, in terms of conveyance?
Okay.
And making your presentation compelling. That's my question.
Okay, I get you. So from what you said now, imagine that I have some points to talk about under persuade, right?
Yes.
So I've said PEPSIM, which is an acronym, and I've listed what each of the letters stands for. But I still have something to say under persuade, under educate, under promote, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did here. You see that I didn't put any points under persuade. I talked about it. When persuade was showing on the screen, I talked about it. Then educate came, I talked about it. Now, it doesn't mean, see, it's called a presentation for a reason. It is not a handout. You can have your presentation, and after your presentation, you can send your audience a manual or manuscript or whatever, and they can then read up for more detail.
More information.
Yes, you cannot add everything in your presentation. That is why it's called a presentation and not a handout. They can read handout at home. You don't have to put all that in your presentation. Honestly, I've seen where presentations where all those texts are on the screen and half of the people have gone out. Some have gone to the market because they finished reading. They've read it and they've gone. But if I have not shown it, because we're animated, I've only shown number one. I said I'm going to tell you 6 things, but it's only one that is showing on the screen. You're going to have to wait to see the rest of the 6.
Yeah.
Right? But if I show all 6, you read it, you move on. There's no need to stay. So if you do have more details or more things that you would like, for example, some people will say, oh, I would like to read this. Why do you think people ask for a slide? Please, can we have the slide? The slide is not where they're supposed to read for information. As a matter of fact, you should have a presentation and you should have a manuscript like the written part of it, which has details and all that. I do not share slides. If you take my slide, you will not get, like, you can't read anything from me because my slide is my cue, is my guide.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it and I'm talking. So, but if I give you my manual or script, then you can read. That's the idea.
Then again, Terry.
So if you have, if you were to follow my first illustration of Pepsin, only Pepsin and a picture, people won't need your slide. They won't need your slide anyway. They won't ask for the slide because it's just Pepsin and a picture that's there. So people ask for slides, especially when you've put other details, a little bit of other details. So I just wanted to know, anyway, like I said, I've seen different types of it, all right?
Yes.
Most importantly, how you drive it. I've seen a guy who will do the same thing I just talked about, my illustration one. If it's a PowerPoint, under it, there's notes where you can add notes. Yes. Whatever he wants to see, he will put it there and hide it there. Of course, that you will not see, but that will guide him. But you will not see.
Of course, I have my points too here, Mr. Terry. Your note is your notes.
I'm just bringing this out to give other perspectives to how our presentations could be. All right. I use the one that best fits in terms of what I want to communicate. If I want to communicate
exactly, you're going back to the why.
If I don't want to communicate too much of it, I do little. All right. So I do almost all of exactly what I've said right now. But I just want to bring out different perspectives, and so that we can look at it and how we can make that. Of course, presentation is storytelling. So it depends on how you not tell story around it.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that perspective. Another thing you can do again, because I talked about one main point on one slide. Another thing you can do again is after listing the acronyms for PEPSIM, you can then go to another slide and then talk about persuade. But that is persuade that is just on that slide. You go to another slide, talk about educate. The idea is to make people be focused about one thing at a time. That's really, but yeah, thank you for bringing that perspective out.
Thank you so much, Mr. Terry. Actually, I want to make mention of that if you don't want to use this method, you can use one slide at a time, put your information there, and after you go to the next slide and you catch your audience along. Thank you so much. To me, it's a very, very wonderful night here, and I've learned a lot that even The one for this.
I don't want question again. I have questions.
I have questions. How do you get today?
It's running away already. It's running away already. What?
No, it's too much.
Wants to go back to sleep.
I'm really enjoying
Who
it.
wants to go back to
A
sleep?
lot of questions so that you know how to.
Who wants to go back to sleep?
We know how to make our slides, our presentation very, very compelling. So it's good. Oh, yeah, your question, please. Your question.
Mr. Terry, go on, Jerry. Don't mind no more.
What happened now? I raised my hand. What happened?
Mr. Julius, sorry, sir.
Mr. Julius, because you're on the basketball court, that's why. That's what happened.
No, I'm not on the basketball court. I'm actually.
It's basketball I'm seeing here.
I'm just waiting around. We are doing something somewhere, so I just looked for a light.
Are you in Abuja? Are you going square?
No, I'm not. To do what? Which Igbo am I coming to square there?
Okay, Mr. Julius, go on.
No. So my question, I think you answered my question when you were answering Terry, because for instance, now all TED Talks, they are compelling.
Yes.
Very compelling. Some of them really use images, but the mode of presentation and style of presentation keeps you listening until they exhaust the pages. And most of the time when they use slides, you find out that only one slide. They can use one slide and slide can capture everything they want to say.
Because the rest of them, they are talking about it.
Exactly. So like, for instance, now you use Pepsin. Somebody else can use simple. The acronym is just for the person to remember those points. You understand? And if for any presentation to be compelling, there must be curiosity.
Yeah.
So, and the only way to create curiosity is to make your slide simple and concise.
Thank you.
So
let them look for more.
If it's somebody else now, like Terry was saying, if we're me like this now, I'll just put Pepsin like that, blank on a blank page. Then you will be wondering what Pepsin means. I will be the one telling you. So you want to stay till the end. So
exactly.
Uzoma has given you expo already of what Pepsin is. You understand? You understand? So, but if I want to keep you to hear what the Pepsin is, those are the things you hide to make money now. I mean, not so. So if you make your slides very compelling, and if you make your presentation very compelling, you are selling yourself, you are selling the subject, and you are also getting traffic for that particular audience. And if you make your slides too very interesting, colorful, attractive, people want to get your slide. You understand? Why do they want to get your slide? They want to look at the slide again and be able to buy into your style of presentation.
Absolutely.
So you also have to look at yourself. What works well for me that will make me sell the subject very well. It's just like when you see somebody do bodybuilding and he wants to sell fashion. You know, somebody that has bodybuild and he wears a suit and is advertising the suit. Say you can see with gel. They will say the girl is sexy. Say you see
is a girl.
You understand? But if it is somebody like me now, put oversized suit, the suit will not sell. The suit will not sell. You get it? So you've got to look at yourself too. If you're very good with reeling out statistics and data, you make your slide very few. You understand? Just keep a curious slide. Then you do the talking. But if you know that you want your slide to speak more than you are going to talk, then you are going to now feed them with all those stuff. So that's what I believe, that it depends on your audience, it depends on you, it depends on the subject as well. So you can
and Mr. Julius, what this thing you've said now again takes us back to that research I talked about. Before you even start presenting to an audience, you have to research about them. Just like Terry said, are they executive? I think it was you. Are they executives in a corporate organization? You need to you need to research about what they do, you need to make that research. You know, it's just like you're going for an interview and you need to research about the organization you're going for. When they're asking you some questions, you're telling them, oh, I read about your 3rd anniversary. And they're like, oh, really? You went to read about that?
Oh, yeah.
That is, you've drawn them in already, just like that. So imagine doing a presentation and you're talking about your audience, you're talking about what they like, how they like to read, because you've gone to ask about those things. That's compelling.
You answer the questions that they want to ask before they ask.
before they ask it, you've already answered it. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Julius. You made mention of style, as in that's a very good point. Your style is very, very important when you are presenting. Just like what Uzoma did this slide. This slides are very, very compelling. Let me say compelling, as in it's very, very catchy, and it's a style that in which somebody can adopt. And definitely it's not boring. That's why we are seeking for more, that we are still here. If it's like jam-packed, everything is not animated.
People would have left since.
Yes. Like we are still 17.
See, I do it through confession. Through confession, no more. I do it. If you give me if you're presenting and you're putting text on the screen, me, I'm a fast reader. In 1 second, I've read everything and I'm gone. But what I want to do is to listen to you. I want to hear you talk. That's what will keep me there. So.
Sure, that's it. And that's why we are still here till now. Unlike before, maybe we'll be like 4 here now. It's like, come on, round up, let's go. But we are still.
We actually all stage.
Yes, definitely. It's a very nice one this night. Any other question, contribution, addition?
Okay, so
President has to say something. Oh, Mr. Terry, sorry, go on.
Yeah, still trying to.
What you just said.
President will now round up.
Sorry, Mr. Terry is saying something.
Yeah, so just to emphasize what Julius said before, because it's very key. So a lot of things were coming to my mind. So because personally, I want to also improve on my presentations anyway. So, but I as we were talking, I was just thinking to myself, Terry does not like presentations where the guy who is presenting shows 1 or 2 slides. I don't like it. Whereas
How do you mean 1 or 2 slides?
Because I think I've jumped in on a webinar before where the guy on 1 slide, everything was there. Everything he wants to say was on 1 slide.
Oh my God.
For me, is that all you have to say? For me, that's terrible.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying now? So I was like, okay, there should be more now. There should be more now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying now? Whereas me, Terry, if I want to do it, even if it's a 1 hour presentation, I could have 30, 50, 30, 35 slides. Although the slides will be straight to the point. I could run through it. I would have done
that works. That works.
So why I brought this out is the audience is key, especially if you want to actually do that. For me, I think what worked the best for me is sitting down and try to put myself in the eye of your audience. To see, okay, how will I like to run through these? Will I like to tell stories, a lot of stories? Will I like to run through slides? How would these slides look like? So I try to interpret that. So it makes me sit down with my slides. I could design slides for 2 days.
Thank you.
I could design slides for 2 days.
That is it. You're making research and you're putting yourself into it.
So only the slides. I had what I want to say, but I could design slides and make it run like
even small.
1
It
week.
is important. Mr. Terry, I like your
time you are thinking about the presentation and the slide, a new slide will be coming up in your head.
What is it?
Every time you are thinking about the presentation.
Last week, I did a career summit, and I was moderator of the event 2 days. And what stood out for me in all the speakers was a particular guy from UK. As soon as he opened up his slide, you could see.
Thank you.
You could. I had to talk about it. It
you
was
are
like
drawn.
this was, so that's because some people may not care, all right? Some people, maybe because I value it or I do it, that's why I appreciated it. And I had to say it on there, like, your slide is so captivating. So, and that made other people to like, wow, that's great. That's true, it's true. So those things like that. But there were others who presented that they didn't care. They just text all that.
Yeah, they just that text there. Oh my God.
So
those are now on a lecturer mode. You don't enter lecturer mode now. You don't enter professor mode, theory mode.
Critical, and of course, your brand also comes into play.
Yeah.
What brand are you going to push out there? All right,
Yeah.
how you package your brand for them to see it, because at the end of the day, it is going to sell you out. If it's going to sell you out. All right, so if you don't do it will sell you. If you do slide, it will sell you beyond the talking. So I just wanted to add that so that I'm done.
That's very key. I think Dare was saying something before. Dare.
Is that it?
Dare, are you still there?
Yes, hello. Yes, I was just trying to buttress what Mr. Terry was saying. You know, I was involved in a training recently, and I have the privilege of seeing the first facilitator, and I was, you know, the whole class was in disarray. The participants were not concentrating. Some of them were just walking around and all that, because he was just reading the slides. And I was like, you know, the truth is,
I don't come out
and that is why it's important for us as facilitators to put
sorry, Mr. Dere. Sorry, Mr. Dere. Let me even chip in something there before you move in. This whole thing about reading the slides, the worst part is that some of them are even reading and they are reading it wrong. As in, they are not even reading what is on the slide. So you are there correcting them in the reading.
Yeah. So he was reading, he just stood on one place, and he didn't use the floor. He was just there reading, and
he didn't move around.
He didn't move around at all. He just stood in front of his computer and was just reading. At some point, he brought out his jotter. He was reading from the jotter, and I was like, really? People can be so lazy. And one of the things that we do, and that makes us effective and makes our presentation or our presentation compelling, is the fact that we first need to research the audience, the demography.
Very important.
And then sit down and create our content. Creating content is not as much as also understanding the audience. You need to understand the audience and create a content that is suitable for the audience, so that you're looking at their representational system, you're preparing your presentation such that it captures all the representational system that is present in the audience. And then you design your content. Like Mr. Terry said, your presentation design, if it's not top notch, it's enough to turn some people away. It will turn them away. They're not paying attention to what you're saying. And then it's one thing to have a good content, it's another thing to have a good design. And then it's another thing to do an awesome delivery. You need to understand what you have put together and be able to, like, you know, I was just smiling. I was just laughing when you said, Uzo, when you said that when you give people your presentation slide, they can't make, you know, there was a time I did the presentation, and I think it was, I don't know who coordinated that time. She said, your slide was not as rich as your presentation. That is me.
Yes.
If I give you my presentation, you might not make it. If I might just be full of
it will be useless to you.
Videos. It'll be useless to you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's important for us to understand our content and be able to deliver it top notch to our audience, so that it will be compelling, and then they make a meaning from what we're delivering. Thank you so much for this awesome presentation, Uzo. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I loved all the contributions and all the responses and all the feedback. Honestly, amazing. So I hope I have been able to use my presentation to compel you guys.
Please stop speaking grammar. Stop compelling us with communication skills.
I have compelled you guys. The buzzword now is compelling. I will compel you, Mr. Julius. I'll compel you.
You can't compel me. I'm compelled already. Can't compel me nothing.
Oh my God. Thank you, everyone. I think Presido can say something now. And
I don't know if you've taken this question for Mr. Julius on the chat box. Isn't it possible to be both compelling in pricing and presentation? I don't know if you've
we answered this already. We said absolutely. As a matter of fact, your presentation needs to be compelling, and you presenting the presentation, you need to be compelling. But I did mention the fact that because I was trying to live up to one of the things I shared, which is don't try to sell too many things, too many points at the same time. So this night, what we talked about was compelling presentation. On another day, we can dwell, just like we have stayed tonight for that one, we can dwell on that one where people were talking about what makes a presenter compelling. That one is another school on its own. So, but we answered it. Of course, your presentation should be compelling. You, the presenter, should be compelling, because you can have the most compelling presentation, slide presentation, and then you, like Dare just said now, your delivery is 0. Then you have not even, that means you've done injustice to that presentation. So yes, we both have to be compelling, and our presentations have to be compelling as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Uzoma. Thank you. Please, can we give her a round of applause? E-clap, can we give her E-clap? 555 for appreciating her. 555.
May I give you vocal clap? Vocal clap.
Okay, so I wanted my exit ticket. So Mr. Where's Terry that wanted exit ticket? Please, my exit ticket is, I want everybody to type in the chat just one word that you're taking away from today. That one word can be what you took away from the presentation. That one word can be your own suggestion about what we've talked about, but just one word. Or one word can be, okay, Mr. Julius has started already, Pepsi. Okay, that works. Compelling, all right. Just one word is an exit ticket. Compelling. Minimalist. Mr. Dare, we today. For me, the less, it's like they say the less is more. That's me, less is more. So minimalist, inform. Hey, Mr. Julius, your own word is Uzoma. I will compel you. All right, thank you, everyone.
Is Uzoma not take away? Uzoma is take away.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Mr. Dennis, I didn't hear your voice. Were you not compelled?
The man is captivated.
He's dumbfounded.
The first presentation, TLS, I will attend that, but will not send it.
Is he here?
That boy is minimizing his voice now.
I want to mention his name, that he's not saying anything. Maybe he's not.
It's powerfully compared.
No, he's being minimal. He's being minimal.
Please, Uzoma, please, I beg, stop the recording so that I beg.
Okay, so that you can be.
It will be bulky. So it will be bulky.
Okay.